Hey guys, this is Mr. Geis for Algebra Unit 10.4 Extra Practice. Remember to show all your work. So, the table of values and scatter plot below show the number of soda cans sold at a local convenience store on days with different temperatures. So, there's all of our information. And it says the equation of the line of best fit is 18.16x minus 743.35. Use the equation to answer the following questions. Describe the correlation between the two variables. So, right now we don't have to put anything into our graphing calculators, okay? Yes, you guys can go through and figure out create the graph in your graphing calculator. You can figure out that equation by going to stat and calculate, but it's already given to you right now. So all we're doing now is just looking and interpreting the data. So the line of best fit is there. What do you think? Is it positive? Is it negative? Well, first, it's positive, right? Because it's all going up. And then do you think it's perfect? Is it strong, moderate, weak? Yeah, I'd say it's strong. So for the first one, the two things that it's asking for is positive and strong. All right, part B. Calculate the residuals for the given data. So remember that we're going to be plugging in to find the predicted, and then to find the residual, we do the actual minus the predicted. Okay, so this is the actual minus predicted. Okay, now before we go through and figure out which ones are less and which ones are more, let's take a look at the graph. Okay, at the graph, just by looking at it, I'm seeing two that are above and 1, 2, 3. I don't know about that last one, but at least it's going to be 2 above, 4 below, or 3 and 3. Okay, so that's kind of giving you a rough estimate on what to expect here. So to find the predicted, remember each time you're plugging into this equation, okay, y equals 18.16x minus 743.35. Okay, so you can't do this. I can. I can just go down and just paste this to each one of these equations because that's what we have to do. All right, this time I have to plug in 58. My next one I plug in 64. What do you get when you plug in 58? Now, oh, here we go. My calculator's opening up right now. All you're doing, guys, 18.16 times 58 minus 743.35. You should have gotten 309.93. So this is the first answer that we look for. And now we're going to take the actual, which is right here. So the actual 335 minus what we found, the 309.93. And what do you get? Well, we get 25.07. Okay. So what that tells me is that answer is more than what we predicted. Okay. So if we go to, that number was 58, and that's our first dot. This is 25.07. higher than what the line of best fit predicted. Okay. Let's look at the next one. The next one we had to plug in 64. So I have 18.16 times 64. If you want to do this all at once, you can do it too. And we get 418.89. So that's our first answer. 418.89. Okay, and then we're going to subtract the 410 minus 418.89, and what do we get? I'm not going to tell you what it is. You tell me what it is. Did you guys get? Oh, it's a negative, isn't it? Negative 8.89. Yeah, so this time it's less because it's a negative number. And if we look at the graph once again, see that second point? Is it less? Yeah, by a little bit, right? Good, so that means we're doing it right. All right, one more together, and then you guys are doing the rest of them on your own. So this time we're plugging in 68. What'd you get? Yeah, I'm already working ahead. I'm getting my equation set up for the next one because I'm waiting to hear what you say. Did you get 491.35? That's what you should have gotten. And now as you plug this in, you should kind of know if it's going to be positive or if it's going to be negative. And hopefully you're saying, Mr. Grice, it's negative. And it's a negative 31.53. So that is less. Okay, and if you look at the second one, yeah, the second one was less. So you should know just by looking at this that this is less and this is more, and I'm not sure what that last one's going to be. Okay, so you guys are in charge of doing this work. Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and there you go. So it was less, more, less, and those are the numbers you should have gotten. All right, so that was just a review of what we did in class on Friday. Now we're going through a little bit of a review, just because we had a lot of trouble on this on our last quiz. All right, a company bought a copier worth $3,800. The table below shows the value of the copier since being bought in 1994. So use your graphing calculator to create a scatter plot of the data. Okay, so that's the first thing, guys. Get out your graphing calculators. Where is mine? There it is. All right, you guys know how to plug in the data. Don't worry, this isn't it. This is what we were doing in class the other day. All right, so I got to go up. I got to go to stat, I got to go to edit, and I got to clear all this data out because that was from my last problem. Okay, so go ahead, guys, start plugging in this data. You don't need me here to do this. Okay, in fact, I'm going to pause the video, and my data and my graph are going to be up. Okay. Okay, so there's my graph. If you're curious about what my window was set on, there's all of that information. Okay, so what is it? Linear, quadratic, or exponential? Yeah, you guys should be saying linear right now. So write the equation and we have to round to the nearest hundredth. So going to your calculator, should be going stat to linear calculate. All right, so let's go ahead. There's the information. Write it. Now remember, the r squared and the r, we're not using that information right now. Okay, that's all the residuals that we talked about in the previous lesson. Okay, so your equation, rounded to the nearest hundredth, y equals negative 134.94x plus 3,798.31. So, what does the slope represent in this equation? There's our slope. What does that represent? Well, is it losing value or gaining value? It's negative. Okay, so that means that it loses. Okay, so it means the value decreases. How much does it decrease? $134.94 per year. Okay, and the next one says, how old will the copier be when its value is approximately 425? So when they tell us this number 425, is that our X or Y? And that's where you need to come back up to your chart and look. It says right there that the value in money is our Y. So this is our Y value. We need to plug that in for the Y. So 425 equals negative $134.94 X plus 3,798.31. So go ahead and solve. We have to get the X by itself, subtract both sides, and we get negative 3,373.31 equals negative 134.94x. Well, we have to divide both sides, but then what do we get? I'm curious. I'm going to figure it out myself. So negative 3,373.31, and I'm dividing that up. I put too many negatives. I hate it when that happens, but did you know that you can just use the back button to get out of that? Yeah. And so I'm going to divide that by negative 134.94. And we have to round that. So about how many years is that? Yeah, that's about 25. So when it's 25 years old, it's going to be about $425. All right, let's move on to number 3. Once again, it's giving us a bunch of information, so you need to clear out your calculators and graph. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so if you want to see what my window was set at, there you go. And then when we graph it, this is what we get. Now I know it's kind of hard because you only get to see really one side of this, but this is a quadratic. This is not exponential because it starts down, comes up, and then it goes back down. Okay, so this is a quadratic. I'm actually going to use my pen real quick. There we go. So write the equation of the function that best fits the data. So remember that we have to go to stat, over to calculate, and it's quad reg. So for mine, it's 5. After we do that, we hit enter. And remember, we don't need that r squared right now. I should probably take that off, but this is what we need, A, B, and C. Can you write the equation? And it says to round to the nearest, or to the 5th decimal, okay? We always have to pay attention to what it asks us to round to. All right, so you should get that y equals negative 27.93155 x squared plus 37.62798 plus 28.3 or 7375. Okay? So 7375. Okay. So now that we have that equation, it says use your equation to find the height of the object after 1.5 minutes. Well, is that x or is that y? We have to look it up. Okay, so this is our x value. So I'm going to copy this equation. Oh, nope. And everywhere I see an x, that's what we're going to plug in. Okay, so 1.5 squared, 1.5. All right, guys, go ahead and plug that in. Yeah, you're doing the work. I'm not going to. What'd you guys get? Are you still typing all that in? Yeah, it's a lot to type in with all those decimals, but you gotta be very careful. Now, you do need to round it. It asks you to round it to the nearest 10th. Okay? So rounding it to the nearest 10th, what you get? You should get that x is 22.3 feet. Okay. B. Approximate what time did the object reach its maximum height? Find the maximum height of the object and to round to the nearest 10th. And guys, we have a lot of trouble with this. This is asking us for the middle point. And guys, that's the vertex. Opposite of B over 2 times A. So x equals the opposite of B, so negative 37.62798, all divided by, in parentheses, 2 times negative 27.93155. You have to be very careful when you're plugging that into your calculator. We had a lot of issues with this in class. So negative 37.62798 divided by, and in parentheses, I'm writing everything down from the bottom. And when we round that to the nearest 10th, we get 0.7. And after we get 0.7, then we have to plug everything into this equation. We have to plug in the number that we just found. Okay? Okay, because our vertex is 2 points. Now, after you round that, guys, you should have gotten 41.4. Now, find the maximum height of the object. Well, we have to write a sentence about that. And that would be, the ball will reach its maximum height at 0.7 minutes. And what's the height going to be? The height will be 41.4 feet. Okay? So 41.4 feet. Now, that's what we did in class. Your homework, if you didn't finish it in class, is the rest of this. Now, there are two things that you need to know. Since you won't have your graphing calculators, I'm going to tell you what the two equations are. All right, so for C, you should get y equals.
Dean Shulak, please come to the administration office. Dean, please come to the administration office.
Okay, well, if you're Dean Schulich, make sure you go down to the principal's office right now. So that's our first equation that we need. And you can pretty much tell, you should be able to tell me if that's linear, quadratic, or exponential just by looking at that equation. And then number 5. Oh, guess what? Number 5, it already tells you what the equation is. It's right there. Okay? So if you need any help with this, please come see Ms. Kranz or myself. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra Unit 10.4 in class practice. Thanks for watching.